Hi folks, I'm Don Meisner and I'm here at Racket River Outfitters with Rob Furnett. Rob, I'm amazed. This is the first time I've been in here. I've heard that this was here for years, but to be standing here by an Adirondack guide boat, you can tell us all about it, but I got to tell you, this boat and this area is what really drew me to the Adirondacks and has affected me for the rest of my life. It's drawn me back here. But tell us a little bit about what an Adirondack guide boat is and why this is so special.
Well, obviously just the shapes that would attract most people nowadays. Just to take one look at them and you want to know more about them because they're so beautiful. But the boats themselves, they come right from the forest. That's what's kind of magical about them. All these curved pieces you see, they're spruce roots. They're growing right from the underneath the ground up into the tree. So we take all the shapes just as they're grown from nature and they become the framework for the boat. That's the start of the boat. And then the planking on this particular boat is pine. Usually it's pine or cedar. This boat's pine. A lot of the old builders, they would use a cedar for if they wanted a real light boat to carry into back ponds for fishing. But the builders preferred the pine. It was a more stable wood. It didn't change its shape as much as cedar did. So
that's really interesting. And I say we, my really good friend John Clark is the one that pretty much introduced me to this region of the Adirondacks in trout fishing the ponds. He had an Adirondack guide boat. And I always remember the first time getting into it, he said, now I'm going to tell you, at first you're going to feel tippy, but then once you become one with the boat, it's almost like it becomes magic. And you can take this thing almost any place, has tremendous capabilities. So tell us a little bit about why these boats are so special.
Well, you can see the bottom board is narrow, and that's what they call the initial stability. When you get in it, it feels really tippy. But the hull flares all the way to the gunnel, so as it goes over, it becomes more and more stable. When you get out on a lake and it's really rough, the waves roll by it, it's just the most stable craft. We used to go in races with this, and when we'd get down to Racket Pond, the solo canoes would start flipping. And we'd say, we'll be right back. We'll go finish the race and we'll come out and pick you up.
Really?
Yeah, because they didn't handle the rough water as well as these boats. These boats can really handle. And the nice thing about fishing with them, especially when you're in trolling mode, is if you're rolling along trolling and you put the oars down, the boat just keeps on carrying. It keeps on its drift. It's really nice. If you're in Radisson, which is kind of replace these in the waters you stop rolling the oars and the boat just stops. You lose your momentum. So
that's really interesting. Well, honestly, I don't think you can consider yourselves initiated into the Adirondacks and especially Adirondack fishing unless you've been in an Adirondack guide boat. The two go hand in hand. And here's what I'd like to do now. I'd like you to show me the finished product. Do you have one handy?
I can show you one of the boats there.
All right, let's go take a look at that. And these oars are absolutely...
Isn't that some beautiful wood?
Absolutely beautiful.
A guide wouldn't have all this in his boat. He'd keep it real simple. He probably wouldn't have the backrest. He wouldn't have the floorboards. So when the hotels came and they were taking people out just for day trips, they would put these floorboards in.
I see.
And then if you go to the guys that built camps and boathouses and were just using them on that lake, they would have these floorboards in. The typical guide that took people down through the lakes wouldn't want all that extra weight, so his boat would be
stripped.
Yeah.
With an Adirondack guide boat, you've got beauty, you've got history, you've got incredible craftsmanship, but you've got amazing utility, strength, and dependability, but everything is light. Yep. So, and that makes that work so much easier because you're not struggling just against the weight of the craft itself.
It's when you're working on the boat, it's amazing. I'll have a plank in my hand, and the plank is so fragile. It has feathered edges. It's 3/16 of an inch thick, and you're like, how can this hold? I'm building boats for guys that are 6'5", 200 and some pounds. How is this going to keep them afloat? And it's the whole unit when it's put together. They all come. It's kind of like those airplanes. They got all small pieces, and when you put it together, they work.
Well, you know, I want to thank you for sharing this with us today, but you said earlier that a lot of times you're kept awake at night worrying about the different subtleties to make this so special. Well, you're going to have to really get your sleep now, because once people see these, I think it's going to captivate a lot of people.